Go live.
We are live.
We are live on Insta.
I'm about to go live on mine as well. We live. Good. It's not morning. Good afternoon and happy Good Friday, peoples.
Happy Good Friday, folks.
Hello, hello, hello.
I'm
Um,
just going to share the live on my social media. Can I do that?
sure. Hey, hey.
I feel like I kind of have to like individually invite people.
Oh,
Whatever. I did it on my Facebook. So, everybody, I'm Novia Bedford, the co-founder of the Sponsi Urge and founder of VetTech, which is a multicultural marketing agency and technology platforms that help people make better decisions about who they pitch to for sponsorship. And my co-founder in the Sponsi Urge.
hello, I am Lily Doxy. Yes, I am the co-founder of the Concierge, but also founder of the Sponsorship Concierge, where we educate the masses on sponsorship and all the goodness of it.
The masses. Oh, yay. It worked. Y'all watch from the Sponsor Urge too and make sure that you follow us because
Yes, follow us at the Concierge.
anybody following over there? Hey, LinkedIn. We usually have a really good LinkedIn crowd that comes in and asks questions, and it's just really engaging. So, hey, everybody. And we're going to kind of jump into today's topic, which is why event details matter for sponsorship.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes, yes. So why details matter? Absolutely. So you want to kick it off real quick?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's having events. It's kind of like I feel like over the years it's become the thing to do. Like you're not having an event, right? So as event enthusiasts, we know how crucial details are, and today we're going to focus on why those details matter, specifically for sponsors, right? So our jam is sponsorship. That is what we do. That is what we love. Combined, we have been on the check writing end and we've been on the pitching end. So we know, the ins and outs of what goes into making a successful event for brands and sponsorship. And for starters, having like the event details sorted out, it really helps you to plan your time effectively. A lot of people are solopreneurs and they might not, be able to hire teams. And if they're hiring teams, not knowing what to offload to those teams. Some of the things are knowing who the speakers are, um, it helps you prioritize your order of your run of show, and sponsors want to make sure that they're reaching the right audience, and knowing who your speakers are going to be well ahead of time is vital, right? So you should be booking speakers at least 3 months. Okay, but like your speakers need to be locked and loaded at least 3 months before your event.
Absolutely. And especially if you're working with an agency like us, it's helpful for us to know who your speakers are because we can pitch to potential brands that match that type of speaker. And sometimes the speaker might be a well-known name. That name brings notoriety. People want to be around people who are famous. People want to be around names that are going to bring in numbers, that are going to bring in heads. So if you have a speaker that's going to obviously bring a crowd, it's helpful to tell the sponsorship concierge or whoever's pitching for you, because we can use that as leverage. Period. Because your event could be great, but having a great speaker that's like well known, they've been on TV. If Beyonce is speaking at your event, tell us. Okay, we need to know because people want to see
If
Beyonce.
Beyonce speaking at your event, your subject line should be Beyonce speaking at X, Y, and Z event to every sponsor. You should be able to use these speakers as leverage. And like, do they
Absolutely.
attract the target demographic, right? So your demographic, because I see this a lot sometimes. And I was having a conversation with another sponsorship expert a couple of days ago who's in a different country. And, there's an event that was so hyped to bring this person from America to speak. And she's like, Here, we don't care about them on the level. When you look at their numbers, they
Right?
don't have a lot of, following where we are. So yeah, that would be great if the demographic that was coming to the event was the same demographic as this person. So it's hard to sell sponsors if, those demographics aren't aligning and they don't match.
Absolutely. And think about things like, are these people actually leaders in their industry? And like Enovia said, are they leaders in the industry globally? Is it local to you? Because some people might know someone on, let's say, Instagram, for example. They're super popular. They know them, but you know them because you're their target audience. The people who are coming, do they know them? Or sponsors who are potentially looking to talk to this demographic, do they know them? So that's, I guess, one of the tips in kind of picking your actual speaker, but also thinking about giving those details to a potential sponsor because they're going to want to know. There's a lot of things that you probably want to also button up to, like your venue. It's helpful to have a venue locked in. Starting at the beginning, let's get a venue locked in. I know sometimes there's a little bit of back and forth, but at least have an idea of where you think you're going to have it. That's more definite than not. Why that's helpful is because we need to know what kind of space you got. Like where is everybody going to be able to activate? How many people can actually show up? How many people are you able to fit? How many booths can fit? These are the kind of things we want to know because these are a part of the assets that we pitch.
Absolutely. Like the venue and making sure that you have a map and because like we like to provide brands with an actual floor plan. And sometimes they're like, oh, we don't want to be by the bathroom. We don't want to be by the kitchen. We don't want to be close to the stage because if sessions are going on, then we're not going to still be able to talk to people, right? There are all different kinds of reasons why that venue layout, that map is important. Will there be foot traffic where they're going to be, right? So the floor plan is really a lifesaver. And even for your overall event, it helps people find the restrooms, the concession stand, where the stages are. It's very beneficial to make sure that you know where your venue is and locking it in. And then also knowing the rules of that venue beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
We need to know the rules. You need to know the rules. The brand you're bringing in needs to know the rules. There's nothing worse than securing alcohol for somebody and then them coming back and telling you that you can't bring it in the venue because they didn't check with the venue first and they didn't read the rules and they don't know what's happening, So you want to make sure that there are no surprises that can be prevented by knowing the rules of the venue and asking those questions.
Absolutely. And think about like when people activate, not all brands activate regular. Some people come and show up and show out. So they need to know what they can bring in. I know when I was on the other side actually doing activations, we would bring in a whole setup where we had a TV baked into our set. So we needed to have a certain amount of outlets because we needed to plug in tablets. We need to plug in phones. We need to plug in that TV. We need to be able to set it up. We need to know where we're going to pick up our stuff because if we ship it there, are we picking it up from freight or are they putting it there? These are the things we need to know. And also back to what Enovia was saying about having the map of the floor plan. I know just from experience that even though we had a set budget, we would pay extra to get in a better spot. If we could prove that like this spot looks a little bit better and it's probably better foot traffic wise, or it's better just for us as our activation, we can get that extra money to pay for it because we can see kind of where we can see ourselves and we can see who we maybe don't want to be next to or maybe who we should be next to. Like when I was at Verizon, it didn't matter if we were next to Google. It helped if we were next to Google because Google is someone we worked with. So you kind of don't want to but we don't want to be next to like T-Mobile because that's a direct competitor. So think about where you're placing these folks and why it's super important to have this map just so we can see it. Overall, it's good for us to have the information, but it's good for the sponsors to see who's going to be there. If they want to pay a little bit extra to get some extra space so they can sugar up their space. Getting the rules is super, super important because we don't want to show up with the best kind of activation and then we can't do it because you didn't check.
You didn't check. The doors are too small to get our stuff in, right? That has happened where stuff has need to go into a building. And the dimensions of what you're trying to bring in don't fit through the doors, right?
Oh my God.
That's the thing. There's been situations where, you're trying to put signage outside so people know that your event is here and you can't put signage outside. So making sure all of those things are really baked in. And that leads to the next thing, the run of show. The
Yes.
run of y'all, I am a run of show girl. Like when I'm speaking, like literally for my Google sessions, if you don't know, I'm North Carolina's Grow with Google Digital Coach. So I teach people how to grow and scale their businesses using Google tools. I need that run of show. I need to know exactly what time I'm going on. Because if you tell me your event is from 9 to 4, I don't necessarily feel like I need to be there from 9 to 4. If I'm
Right.
speaking at 2, then I need to get there at about 1. You know what I'm saying? So that run of show is important. And there's also things that you could be missing that are sales opportunity, right? So if I'm
Mhm.
a brand and you give me the run of show and I see that there's this little 15-minute break and I'm like, oh, what's in that break? Can I do like a quick, speed dating kind of session? I'll pay extra money to be able to take over that 15-minute break.
Extra money.
Extra money, right? So being able to show the run of show, you can see who the speakers are. You can see, the entire layout every minute. I need to run a show in hand to see what's going on. And also for us as the sponsorship folks, we show up. If you're our clients, we're coming to your event. We're making sure that things are going. We're making sure that, I'll dance with the brands. Do what I got to do to make sure that everybody is happy. We need a
Yes.
copy. You said what?
Means it too.
Literally. But we need to run a show to see all the opportunities. There might be a session that got added that we didn't know about that we want a brand to physically walk into so they can see how that is, so we can sell that to them the next time. So your run a show are definitely gold mines for sponsors. Knowing where the brands will be displayed, with how they can engage the attendees is definitely crucial.
Mm-hmm. Definitely is. And like you said, any gaps can be filled with a little speech, keynote, activation, something like that. But it's good for us to know the run of show so we know timing. So we need to know, when can we tell this sponsor to show up? What time do they need to show up ahead of time to set up for activation? Is there a panel that they can probably sit on that we can probably throw them in there? We can figure out how long the actual event is going to be. So maybe if they're they can probably plan a happy hour around that and post and have it afterwards. We need to know when the event ends. So run of show is super helpful for the sponsors, but it's helpful for you to just kind of be organized anyway. So regardless of whether you have sponsors or not, you should have a run of show for any type of event because you need to know what's going on and when things are going on. And we want to then to our next point. I would say think about the sponsor visibility and some audience insights. So when we think about like the impact of what a sponsorship looks like, is there going to be a section for the vendors? Do you understand what the landscape of what the vendors are going to look like to determine how much visibility they're going to get? That's kind of going back to what we're talking about with the map. How visible are they going to be at that event? Are there going to be, is that section, is it a lot of footwork? It's not footwork. I'm saying footwork. I'm from New Jersey, y'all. Sorry. Is there a lot of foot traffic around there where it might be optimal for them? Or is it so much foot traffic that it might not be the prime space because maybe the type of activation they have, people need to actually sit there and actually talk, and all the people walking is going to be disruptive. You got to think about what a vendor section looks like and what kind of visibility do they get. And this kind of goes back to when we talk about when you're pitching and kind of talking to a sponsor, talk to them, ask them questions, because these are the things you'll figure out from just kind of getting that information from them. Maybe they don't want that much visibility. Maybe they just want people to come by and walk through. And maybe that's the thing. Or do they want to have conversations with people? If they want to have conversations, you might want to show them to go another place. Maybe it's adding in a session for them to talk because they want to actually speak to people. These are things you got to think about when you're looking at sponsorship, but definitely look at what the vendor sections look like, what kind of visibility that looks like as well.
That's such a good point. And, you want to make sure that your vendors are getting what they're supposed to get. I love a good event passport where you get the passport and like you have to go to a certain amount of vendors and get a stamp before you can get your gift bag. People do it. It makes them stop. It makes them interested. And it's a very engaging way of doing it. And then with Passport, a couple of weeks ago, I went to the Cherry Blossom Festival and it was awesome. It was in Washington, D.C. One of our homegirls is the sponsorship director of it. And I consulted her on a couple of things earlier this year. So I popped up and it was the themes were, Cherry Blossom, of course, but their theme was places that cherry blossoms grow. So they could have just focused on DC, but they did Tokyo, Japan, and DC. So there was a different room. The main room had like Eiffel Tower statue. The Tokyo room had had karaoke. So there was an overarching themes and then themes within themes. And it's super important, one, to have a theme for your event, and two, to let people know what the theme is, right? It can help sponsors tailor their messaging or booth design to better resonate with the audience. Like everything was done so masterfully. It was just really cool to see how the layers of themes played into each other. And it's another selling point, right? It's another way that you can get brands' attentions and make them want to do something with you that's fun and different.
Absolutely. And that cherry blossom event is such a good example because yes, cherry blossoms is the theme, right? But cherry blossoms around the world, quote unquote. Obviously, they can't do the whole world, but you know what I mean? Like, it's a good way to turn a standard every day. Okay, we talk about cherry blossoms, they're pretty, but yeah, let's talk about cherry blossoms in Tokyo. Let's talk about them in Paris. We have cherry blossoms here in Jersey. They have like different things, but like it's a cool way to just interact with people. And you can also bring in brands that feel like the country that they're in. Like they might have, maybe they sell in that country.
Japanese whiskey in the Tokyo room. Yeah, there was French brands in it played right into the overall theme. So it was really cool. They could have just had a pink room, right? They could have just done cherry blossoms and been real basic and just had a pink room with cherry blossoms all over. But they dug a different level. And you can tell through sponsorship that like they were able to bring brands in based on that, higher level of thinking.
Yep, that theme really probably sold them on it because I could have said I'm doing a cherry blossom thing. Okay, pink, everything pink. No, pink. Let's go a little bit beyond the pink. So, speaking of that, your event page where people can register and actually show up to your event. It's good to let us know when it's going live or if it's already live. Reason being is we need to know as sponsorship consultants for you. We need to know because we need to know if people buying tickets. Is there an option for the sponsor to get a logo there depending on how much they pay? Is there messaging we can put on there? Is there any way we can amplify it? Because your success is our success. So if you tell us when it goes live, maybe we want to promote it because you are our client. Maybe the sponsor themselves wants to promote it because they're going to be there. So it's helpful to know when things are going live because we want to make sure that it's actually live and that your audience is seeing it and that people are actually registering and buying tickets for it.
Yeah, that event live page. And then, it's something that we could use in selling. We can say along with, so it's a good first introduction for us if we're pitching to brands that we have a link that we can send while we're talking to them as opposed to the deck, right? So it's always good if we can send like a previous hashtag, check out the event here and send the event right before we send the actual deck. So, I mean, we want to know how much time, right? Because if your event is live, then you usually have emails that are going out with that to send, right? So if you have 6 emails going out, that's opportunities for the brands to come in and say, okay, well, can we be included in 4 out of 6 emails or whatever it is, right? So we need that for the overall strategy of your event so we can help you sell. The purpose is to sell some shit and to make some money. So we need to have the tools that we can, that we can do that.
Absolutely. And that's helpful with keeping track of the number of attendees that are attending.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good to let us know what the numbers are.
We want to know. Yeah, like check in with us, right? You can tell us, oh, well, these are the amount of the sales for VIP tickets right now. And that's the thing. If you have separated tickets, right? Say you have 25 VIP tickets and you're pitching to a brand right now. I was just going over an email with Lily with a cosmetic company and they have like eyelash serum. It's like $150 or something like that, right? There was one that was like 88 and there was one that was over 100. Generally, we're not going to ask them for 2,000 samples. Like we're not going to ask them.
We're not giving you extra.
We're not going to ask them for 2,000 samples of $150 products like at this size company. But if you tell us, okay, we have 50 VIP tickets selling and we've sold 25 of those, we could go ahead and say, hey, we can, do a small check and put this stuff in the VIP bag. So it's really important to check in, even check in with yourself and see how ticket sales are going, see where you need to expand. Are there going to be more people there? Do you need to increase the amount of food that you're having to make sure that everybody, can eat? So you want to make sure that you're tracking that number and making the adjustments as you go. Of course, sponsors want to reach a large audience. So understanding the attendance helps them gauge the event's potential reach. So if we're 3 weeks in and you're sold out, baby, right? Then a sponsor might say, okay, well, we're really interested in this. Is there an opportunity to move it to a bigger venue? Is there an opportunity to increase the cap because you have something here?
Exactly. And especially if you have a sponsor like an alcohol sponsor, they need to know how much they need to order, because they're not just keeping boxes in their house. Like, they have to order enough from their warehouse for it to show up. So it's helpful for you to say, like, okay, we have 150 people showing up. They know, and we know, like, let's say everyone's doing 3 drinks a piece, they can kind of estimate how much they need to order for every single one. So it's not just for just the audience analytics, but we need to actually know so people can actually serve you the right way and no one's coming up short. Because we would hate for that. Like, you have an event and then you have, let's say, free drinks for everyone and people miss out on getting drinks because we didn't order enough. So definitely super, super important to let us know the numbers. Another thing is when you optimize the whole sponsorship experience. So first thing I would say is like the step and repeat, right? Step and repeats, I feel like, are standard for certain types of events, like conferences, luncheons, dinners. I feel like step and repeat is just an easy go-to that you should have. One, because it's an easy way to get photo opportunities. 2, it's an easy way to get the sponsor's logo immediately as soon as people come in. I know we always talk about logo is not the favorite thing, and it's not. But the step and repeat is a standard way to easily get that logo placement there. And you can also activate on this step and repeat / red carpet. Like, I think one of my favorite things that people do now is like at the, I think it's Academy Awards and those award shows, they've been doing that camera, that Vogue camera that they're like, okay. I feel like that's so cool, because that one clip usually goes viral if someone really kills it. Like, I think people have done it for like a couple of years and people still bring back, like, I think Portia Williams, she did a really, really cute one. People still bring that up. She was like, oh, she ate. That kind of stuff is really, really cool. And let's say having your step and repeat behind that, having a viral moment in that, and always seeing your logo every single time that comes up, it's an easy way to do it. So definitely having a step and repeat is helpful. And then letting the sponsor know that you have a step and repeat is helpful. The reason being is because they can send you a logo to put it on there. That's like an easy no-brainer placement. So if you have a step and repeat, let your sponsors know that you have one.
Yes. Let them know any print stuff that you have. It could be in that standard print line, dates, right? So letting them know that overall dates and strategy. So the Eventbrite or tickets will go up here. We need all logos by this date. We need confirmations by this date. Because honestly, sometimes, like, we just had an event and we ended up pitching to the last minute. Like, we got stuff in, but we ended up still being like, okay, because we got more information as it went. And we're like, okay, well, let's, try. So having some hard dates created where you're like, okay, final cutoff, we need this by this date. There are some brands that do that. Some event organizers that do that really well. The rest of y'all got to step it up. So, and then also asking your sponsors if there are any specific details that they would like to know beforehand, right? Mm-hmm. So just saying them like, hey, are there any, because we all have our own personal pet peeves, right? Like mine is labeling subject lines. I'm a stickler for that because I want you to label subject lines correctly. Like there are some little quirks that I have and everybody does. And then finally, every second counts. Make sure that you're answering in a timely manner. A proper response can make the difference between a win and a missed opportunity. We have an email that came in today and we're like, oh, the event is like right around the corner, but thanks for getting back to us. And vice versa. It's, situations where we're introducing brands to event organizers because they have, more information, or it's a sideline conversation and they're not getting back to the brands promptly. And the thing about these brands is that there's a line of 1,000 people behind you waiting talk to these people. So when you have them on the line, do not take that for granted and make sure that you are responding. Even if your response is something like, hey, I'm getting through my emails. Let me get back to you about this, and say something. Say something for 24 hours. You need to say something. They have so many options. So you need to prioritize fast, clear communication. And because you're building a relationship with these people, think about the dude that you texted and you wanted him to text you back and he didn't. Same principle. You mad, right? So.
You definitely don't want to miss out. And I think this is a good point for a lot of the folks who are in the influencer space. These brands, they'll find your email, they'll email you for a partnership, and you might not see it because you might not be checking your emails often, or you get so many that you're missing them and you just need you need some help to kind of like manage it. And you might miss out on like a brand opportunity. Like I was watching a video of a girl and she said she almost missed out on a brand trip to like Belgium and Italy because she just didn't check. She didn't see the email because she got so many. So definitely checking your email a little bit more often when you are in that game is super helpful. You can hire a partnership manager, sponsorship concierge, bringing that service in. So let me know if you need a partnerships manager. But again,
the concierge does it already. Our company together.
I'm not pitching nobody.
I know, but we have a management only package. You forgot we created that, but we have one too.
But definitely if you need that kind of help, people can do it. Like if you feel like you're getting so bogged down, you got to hire help. It's simple.
It's time to hire help. And actually that was one of the things on the list that we didn't go over today. The management package that we have to update it. I was looking at it yesterday and I was like, we have to update some of this language. But this was a very good conversation as always. Thanks everyone that joined us. If you have any questions, now is the time to ask. I can't see questions anywhere. So Lily, you're going to have to man the chat.
Okay. I don't see any so far. You're on LinkedIn, right?
Yeah. I'm on my Instagram. Usually we get the Instagrammy.
I don't have none on Instagram right now.
Okay. So we can run.
I was going to see on LinkedIn. You can't see LinkedIn questions either?
No, it's usually they come up in this box. I don't have any. Okay. I don't see any LinkedIn folks active right now.
Fair. I don't see any either. All right.
Yeah. Bye, y'all. Like, share, follow the Sponsierge on Instagram. Connect with us on LinkedIn. If you need, what else? When is your next class coming up, Lily? Because I feel like you always have something coming up.
We got a question before we end. Makisha, yes, ma'am. Go ahead, ask. But yes, as you were saying, what were you saying? I'll wait for her to type her question.
Oh, I was saying what you always have like the sponsorship 101 classes. When is your next class?
Girl, I made a video on how I didn't post for like a quarter, but they are coming back. I have to find a good date, but they will come back. I will have one for Q2. Just bear with me. I was lazy, okay? I was lazy. Okay, so the question is, what about sponsorships for live podcasts? What brands tend to lean into funding those executions?
Podcast is about.
That's true. That's very true. But I'm a podcast fan. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I've heard sponsorships from just about like everything. And the different types of podcasts I listen to are all variants of things. Some are like more gossipy, some are informational, some are true crime, and they all have similar, I guess, quote unquote sponsors. So I think most brands are open to it. You just have to like, I guess, kind of pitch them the right way. And a lot of them do kind of proactively reach out depending on how much reach your podcast has.
Yeah, definitely think, specifically, what is a podcast about?
Yeah. And what is your podcast about?
Oh, I can see. Have you worked with mental health brands? So actually have I went through like this phase a couple of months ago. It's like, a lot of referral based. So it was, I feel like 70% of my clients were in mental health fields. It just happened to be that way. It was like one mental health person after the other. And I think that you do have to get creative. Of course, like,
Mhm.
your first thought is hospitals, like, things like that. But I would think insurance companies. I would think more like, HR companies at any company, right? So if you're in a mental health space, there's no reason why you can't be partnering with Lowe's. There's no partnering with like a CVS. So it really depends on what the project you're running is and what your goals are for the event and what your goals are for sponsorship. And that
Definitely.
question was from Crystal Curry.
Thanks, Crystal. And it's definitely a good, I would say if you could follow one of, I've worked with her before. Her name on Instagram is Picture This Vic. She has a organization that focuses on, I think she calls it We Are Ill, but she has MS and she kind of created an organization behind that. And she created a patient like advocacy box. And she partnered with a couple of um, healthcare providers like I think like Cigna and those kind of things. She partnered with them to make that box. So that's definitely an option to do when you're looking at that.
I'm almost done. Give me 5
Uh,
more minutes.
podcast is
The last thing on the mental health is that in North Carolina, there's an organization, I cannot think of it, but I went to their event and it was called Ice Cream. And they partnered with an ice cream company. So it was like mental health based. Yeah, you went with me to the event. There was all the stuff for kids. We had the potato sack race. It was really, really fun. But like really thinking outside of the box on things like that will definitely take you far. It was a very cute event.
Yeah.
And what was the podcast about, Lily?
It says intimate discussions with your favorite creators and entrepreneurs. It's a peek behind the curtain of their journeys. I feel like
that's an open. Yeah, that's an open category. That can be anything from a Sam card to a StreamYard to a, computer company. Like you kind of have open. If it's in studio and y'all have a little cocktail, a little wine, like it can be a wine company sponsor. You kind of have free range.
Yeah, I definitely even would think a lot of business services because people who want to know behind creators and entrepreneurs are generally creators and entrepreneurs. So they're not usually people who don't have something going on. So like some of your favorite brands that you use for your business services, whether it's like a HoneyBook or that kind of stuff, the stuff that you use in your everyday life, those are people who could potentially sponsor because you have the background knowledge of using it because it's something that you like to use. But for business, I would say anything that has to do with a business running, they're a good fit for you.
Absolutely. Banks, financial services, like anything. Samcart kind of like screamed out to me. Or I mean, ConvertKit doesn't really sponsor things, but anything like that, right? Anything where your newsletters are coming from, all that stuff.
I've noticed it does a lot with business owners too. For courses.
What a lot?
Thinkific. They Thinkific. It's a platform.
Oh yeah, Thinkific. Yeah.
They do good with business owners in general.
Sponsierge.com. Crystal, I added my email address for the Sponsierge, and I can kind of like gauge what services you want because I offer one set, Lily offers a set, and then we offer a set together. So you can just shoot me an email and we will get to the bottom of what you need.
Period.
Is that it on questions? And I think she's actually on our Sponsierge page. We actually have other followers besides us.
Yay! More followers besides us. You know what gets followers is being consistent, and I know that, but sorry. We be busy.
We're consistent as a team. I'm consistent individually. We're consistent as a team.
When it comes to like social media, like I'll be trying, but
it's all right. You'll get there. You'll get there. You'll keep working it. You've been working it. But all right, good folks. And also, if you know anybody in New Jersey that is in college or a recent graduate, we are looking for interns. This is a paid internship. We have a grant that we need to spend. So, yeah.
We got 3 spots.
3 spots. All right, good folks. We're out.
We are. Thank you guys so much for joining. Talk to you next month.
next month.
which is tomorrow.